Hey everyone, my name's Eric. Yesterday I played at the Top Cut Events official Bandai webcam tournament for the Digimon TCG. Went 7-1, did pretty well. Had a lot of fun, met a lot of cool people. Matchup was pretty crazy. I myself played Blue Omnimon. Played against actually like 4 Blue Omnimon mirrors and 2 Leopardmon Omnimons that were kind of spicy, but essentially kind of the same idea. And also played against one Red Gallantmon Omnimon deck, and also just one Red Omnimon. So every single one of my matchups was against Omnimon. It was kind of crazy. I was kind of expecting like maybe some purple decks or Rookie Rush, and I kind of built my deck around having outs to Rookie Rush just because I was kind of scared of it. But yeah, 1-7-1. Every single matchup was like super close. I think I only 2-0'd like once or twice, but every game came down to game 3 was super close. My only loss was to actually the tournament winner, who also played Blue Omnimon, which was super cool. To Claudio, we had a crazy match. I think it just came down to like who had the better security in that specific match. But yeah, congrats to him. It was a super fun game. I think because I guess strength of opponent, I came in second, which is pretty cool. Yeah, pretty happy about that. Everybody I played was super cool, so thank you everyone for the matches, and thank you for doing this tournament. I wanted to do a quick deck profile, kind of on some of the ideas I had, and kind of the choices that I would make in the future. So yeah, I'm gonna switch over to tabletop and show you guys the deck. Alright, so we're back here at tabletop. I guess I'll go over some of the choices that I made. So here we have Blue Omnimon. Nothing crazy, nothing super innovative or anything. I think people have kind of figured out this deck and this archetype already. A lot of people are playing it. I'm not gonna like pretend like I made up this deck or anything. But you know, just kind of some choices that I made and tweaked throughout my testing. So I'm gonna kind of go over those things. So the one of Wanyamon, this card isn't like really that good. It doesn't really come up often. Every time I played it, it never really came up. But having that 5th baby is good. You want to sometimes the games can get really grindy, and you want that extra card draw. The effect can come up, I guess, like sometimes. I mean, the 2K is still pretty decent, but don't expect to like get this off all the time. The 4 of Upamon is just so much better. And shout out to Justin for coming in clutch with the Upamons, that even though because I didn't pull them in my boxes, but yeah, thanks to him for allowing me to play this deck. But yeah, Upamon, super insane. You just get to draw, and drawing in this deck is super good, and drawing in any deck is really good. But yeah, the no sources on the Digimon to proc this is like, it happens really often, because a lot of times people end their turn by just slapping a rookie down, and it can enable you for like so many plays, and just having that 1 card extension can really change the tide of your turn. So it's really good. I play 15 rookies. 15 rookies I think is a really good number for this deck, just because you want to be really consistent, and you want to have a rookie in your hand, like, you know, almost like all the time. And I think there's only like 1 or 2 matches, and out of like the 20 something matches I played, you know, throughout the day, where I didn't start a rookie, but like I drew into it eventually, and it wasn't too late, that would like ruined my entire game. And I did hear like a lot of people like complain like, oh, I didn't draw like a rookie all day, or you know, the all game. So maybe they're playing like a lower rookie count, but 15 has been like super consistent for me. Yeah, I don't think I'll go back to 14. Maybe for like other decks, but not in this iteration right now. So I'm playing all of the vanilla 2-cost 3k DP rookies. I think they're pretty good. I mean, just having the option to, you know, 2-cost slap something down that can swing for security is like always really good. And the 2-cost comes up a lot just because, you know, like when you play Blue Omni, you're really trying to like choke them out of memory, because you're super efficient when you're like, you know, just playing your deck or turboing or in general. Having that, like, just the way the math works out, like, you know, just having that option to slap down to 2, and you know, playing around with the numbers to put them at 1 all the time is just really good. Like, I can't even count the number of times I put my opponent at 1 every time, and just put this down, you know, and you know, just have that tempo gain for 2, and you know, sometimes even setting up for a game a lot of times. Like, it's just really good. But I'll go into later with the other Gomamon, but like if I had to cut like or change like one of these, it might be one of these vanillas for one of the other, you know, more expensive rookies, but I kind of go into that after. So I'm playing the four of Gabumon for the draw. I mean, the draw just comes up a lot because, you know, sometimes your hand isn't perfect. You might have like too many champions, too many of this, and you need to like get your megas or ultimates, whatever. Just having that option to draw just makes the deck like that much more consistent. Yeah, I think playing 4 is correct here. And three cost is like not too bad on like your first turn or even throughout the game to just draw one and extend your plays. Yeah, really good. It doesn't feel great when this is the only rookie in your hand. It's the one that you need to put on your baby, just because it doesn't really do anything. You're kind of missing out on the draw, but yeah, just drawing it for 3 and having a body is really good. I have 3 of the memory gain Gomamon. I kind of wish I had more almost. I didn't expect the inheritable to come up that often, but the inheritable came up like actually a lot. Like so many people will be so careful on killing my Digimon, or like just playing around the memory. And the memory a lot of times, because I played a lot of Blue Omnimon mirror, so that one memory actually like mattered so many times. And I think in the mirror this is like super insane, but maybe in the other matchups not as much. But because the games came down to like, oh, I only have 1 memory to work with, or he only has like 1 or 2, that one memory game when you need to clear out something is like comes up a lot. So if you expect a lot of mirror, maybe cut down one of the vanillas for the 4 of Gomamon. That might be the change that I would make, and something that I might try in the future. But yeah, that one memory is actually super clutch. Hard playing this for 3 doesn't really feel really good, but you love it when you can just put this over Nupamon. It's probably like your best play turn 1 or any turn really. It just feels really good to have that efficiency there. But yeah, for 15 rookies, I really like that number. Moving on to the champions, the 4 of Gorillamon. I don't think I'll play less than 4. I mean, 1 cost for Gorillamon just to turbo into like what you need to turbo into, and having that, you know, speed of the deck is just too good. 6 cost is kind of high for doing nothing, but never came into a situation with this deck where I'm like, oh damn, I gotta play this for 6 and just slap it down. But yeah, 4 of, I think this is pretty standard. Just having that 1 evo cost is insane. Grizzlymon, I don't think I'll cut this down or change the ratios up either. Having the 4 for the blockers in this meta right now are just such a premium, just because the game is like super early right now, you know, in its game state and like meta. Having that blocker and slowing down your opponent, just protecting yourself and buying yourself an extra turn, and then setting yourself up for the following turn for game and stuff, it's just really good. This saved me so many times, and just yeah, I think you have to play 4. Garurumon, I'm playing the 3, so I play 11 champions total. This card is really good. I almost want to play 4, but I think it's probably too much. But it's just because this can really, like, if you play this off of Meta Garurumon, it's just insane. And sometimes when people are going for desperation plays, like, I'm gonna Terraforce and hope like that's enough memory. That's not like too much memory for you to win the game, and you might be like off by 1. Just having this in your hand and playing it for 6 can just get you game sometimes. But yeah, I don't think you're ever upset to see this in your hand, because this could really set up, you know, really explosive plays with Meta Garurumon in the future. And just having that there and that threat, people get super scared about the plays that can come. Grizzlymon's also insane getting off of Meta Garurumon. You don't feel as good when it's Gorillamon, but yeah, 3 of Garurumon, just because I think like out of the 3 I choose, this is probably the worst, but it's still like a really good card. I don't think I have enough room to like bump this to another one, but yeah, I think 3 is the sweet spot here. I don't think I would change it. Monzaimon, this card is busted, I think, at least in the current meta. You know, 2 for an ultimate, and then also 5 for a hard play, just to like threaten, you know, Plesio and like even possibly like Omnimon, or, you know, just like setting up your plays so early on. If you open with this hand and like you don't have rookies and stuff, but you have this, you're like kind of okay with just playing this and like having your opponents have to deal with it. The 5 cost is just such a premium, I think. The 6k DP is kind of a bummer. You don't really feel comfortable ever swaying with the 6k, I think. There's just too much stuff that can crash and beat over it. But yeah, having this just enables to play so often. And with that 2 number on the evo cost, you can just always put them down to 1 or 2, and it synergizes really well with your entire playstyle. I'm playing the 3 of Zudomon and the 2 of Wargurumon. This is kind of the biggest area of like contention for me, and I'm not sure what the perfect ratios are. Definitely the 4 of Monzaemon, but these 2 I've been flip-flopping around. The reason why I chose to play 3 of the Zudomon is because I think the one played draw 2 is just so good. Maybe this is just like my previous mentality of like from like previous TCGs, that drawing 2 is just too good. But I think you don't like, if you're going second and you start this in your hand, you have kind of like a bricky hand, and like let's say they put you at 2 memory or something. Even when you play this for 7 overall and you draw 2, that a lot of times fixes your hand and it puts you at a card advantage, and you have strong tempo and you can go into your megas too. Like that comes up pretty often. Well, not super often, but I think the draw 2 just fixes your hand a lot. Super good. But I did find myself in situations where if I had the Wargurumon and the security +1, I probably could have just won the game like a turn earlier or something. The memory from Zudomon can actually be super good and extends your plays a lot, so I didn't feel bad ever having this. It's just sometimes you can't fully punish the opponent for not having sources, and that kind of felt bad. But I think it was only like 1 or 2 games where I'm like, damn, if I had this, it would have been game. I think if you're looking to play like a much more aggressive style, this is probably the way to go. Just go like 3-2. I think I might give that a shot, but yeah, I think the change I would make is try this out and see if you can win faster. But this being like a really good ultimate in general with the memory when you attack, and on top of like just being 7 cost and drawing 2 to fix your hand, like I think this is like a much more versatile card than this. Like I think this card will come up more in the Wargurumon, which is kind of the mentality I had when I put the Zudomon in. So I might play around with it, but I did feel okay about this decision to play more Zudomons than more Gurumons. I've seen some lists out there who play more and more aggressive. Maybe that's better too, but yeah, I think consistency, especially when we're playing like so many games in a big tournament, like with like 200 something people and like so many rounds, the consistency really pays off, and I think that's what really helped me kind of push throughout the day. Onto the Megas. Plesio, just really good card. 2 EVA cost, 12k DP. Just can be a beat stick, and at least with like how the math goes in the current metagame, 12k is just really good and can kill basically everything except for like Omnimon and stuff. And if you have the engineer security and like they're beating into it with like a 10k Metal Tyrannomon, thinking they can like out tempo you or out race you, and they hit this, like you feel really good. And just having this down in the mirror and like threatening an Omnimon, or like having multiple threats, and then like if you had like a Monzaemon and like a Plesiomon, and then they're like, okay, Omnimon, your Plesiomon, and then you have another one in hand, and then you just evo it, and then Omnimon, their Omnimon, that can really swing the game. A lot of like the mirrors I played into that like were super close and went like 2-1. It's basically all about like how you manage your megas and like even your ultimates, and like how you spread out your threats. If you play like really single-minded and like narrow-minded, and like I'm just gonna turbo into Omnimon and win the game and slap them with Metal Gurumon a bunch of times, like sometimes that's not enough because they could bait you into overextending, and then they just have Omnimon, right? Or you pick the wrong target and like you think you can go for an opening, but it was just a bait. Like that, I think with like the Omnimon mirror matchups, like almost like every single one of my matchups are kind of like that, where you had to like kind of be disciplined and like not overextend. Like I think these kind of cards that are super efficient, really help you enable that. But sometimes you just kind of go ham and just turbo, and this is like just a really good turbo card. I wouldn't play more. I wouldn't put less than 4 of. I think this is super good. I'm playing the 3 Metagurumon. I think this is like the game changer in the deck. A lot of times I almost like wish I saw this more often, but every single time I got this card out and I got the effect and I brought out like this or even this, sometimes like the tempo gain is just insane. Like 11k is like, you're really sad if you bump into a 12k, but or like an Omnimon or something, but more often than not, your Metagurumon will live when you just swing with it. And getting a Grizzlymon or even Guruma, this can help you go for game, this can help you live another turn. So you really want to set up, like, if you're planning your hand, right, you want to have a stack where it's like Upamon, like Goemon, having a Grizzlymon or a Gurumon here, just to like start your combos and stuff. Like this, if you get this off, you're probably gonna win the game. Just having this out for free is insane. And like what I was talking about earlier with, like, especially in the mirror matchups, like you have to like set up multiple threats, right? If you go tunnel into like one Digimon, you just want to go turbo Omnimon, I'm gonna swing a bunch of times and win. Like if you're playing the mirror, you're probably gonna lose if you play that way. Like if you finally find a window to go into Metagrown, you can swing and you could bring out this or one of these two, and then you have this in hand. Like it doesn't matter if they Omnimon this, because then you could probably just play these two and then go to your Omnimon of your own. That's kind of like the way you want to approach it. Yeah, at least that's like how I played like almost every single game, and it was like super close. It was like so many mind games, and sometimes I would bluff that, like, I had the 4 memory into Omnimon play. There's just like a lot to think about in the mirror, and I think this card is just wins you so many games. The effect is insane. I wish I saw it more. Sometimes I just played like this and I'm like, damn, if this was a Metagrown, it'd be insane. But 3 is a little expensive, especially if you're playing in the mirror. 2 is just really too good to pass up. I think 4-3 here is the right ratio. But yeah, you're super happy and you always want to dig in and set up for this. This is like a huge win condition. This spot I have for the Volcanic Dramon is like, super, I don't know, it's basically the tech card. And the reason why I chose Volcanic Dramon is because this is like the first webcam tournament. I thought there would be like a ton of rookie rush, and even though I didn't really text against a lot of rookie rushes because my friends weren't playing it, but everybody was saying like it's insane, it's hard to play against, it's really good, and it's cheap, so I thought a lot of people would be playing it. So I thought the one of will be my one out if I ever do play against it. And I felt comfortable having it just because, like, if I did run into it, I felt like this card would save me, even though I don't like fully know the matchup. And the other option a lot of people play here is the Metal Seedramon, the one that bounces. And I think it's good. It's really good in the mirror. I think I lost a game, I think maybe to Claudio or like someone else, I forgot now. There are just too many Blue Omni mirrors. But yeah, the bounce won them the game in like a really drawn out fashion, and it was really good for them. But a lot of times, if you're not playing as the mirror, the bounce could just be like a delay of the inevitable. It could put you behind if you don't have the right hand to follow up with it, and it's pretty expensive. Whereas like Volcanic Dramon can be like a huge blowout, depending, because a lot of times I think in these decks, like the way people win is just like, okay, I'm gonna set up a strong board, and then I'm gonna slap down a few rookies to like make you deal with it, but you can't because they're usually not rested. But like this can really be a really good card. I played against a a Red Omni that played this, and I had like 2 rookies, and like he would just slam down this and I couldn't win that turn. And like he basically said, like, if I can get Volcanic for 2, it just doesn't matter the matchup, like I'm just gonna do it because it's like a huge tempo swing. And the security +1 is still good, it's still 10k, it's gonna still beat you. And the beauty of it is you can threaten it with Omnimon next turn. One kind of like cute play I had against a mirror was he had like 1 rookie, and like I had like a Monzemon and like some other stuff, and it was basically like a race. But I think because of this card, I gave him like 10 memory to work with, but I think his hand size and just like the read on his situation, even if he had 10, it didn't matter. And like being able to kill that 1 rookie and like have multiple threats here to like, and I had this was my hand. I had these 2 in hand, so like depending on which one, I knew he was gonna like slap down something like a Terraforce or like a, not a Terraforce, sorry, like I knew he was gonna go for an Omnimon play, and he had to choose between like this one and this one. And even though it put him in 10 memory, either way, like just having multiple threats here, if he Omnimon this one, then I just go here and then I win. And if he went the other way, then I still win because I can still put this down and then kill his. So yeah, I mean, you could do that with Metal Seedramon too. But yeah, if you're afraid of the rookie rush matchup, I would play the Metal Seedramon, the Volcanic. If you are super confident you're never gonna run into rookie rush, I would play the Metal Seedramon. But I think like if you do play the Metal Seadra and you put it down and you get the effect off, it's probably not as strong as the situation where they have like a bunch of rookies and you play this. I think this is like a much more aggressive and you like win harder in this card. So I think I might still keep this in, but I'll play around with the Metal Seadra again, because I did find myself in a few situations where it probably could have helped me a lot more than this card. It didn't come up as often as one, just because like the matchups I played. Onto the star of the deck, I have the 3 Omnimons here. Some people are playing 4, but in my really early testing, 4 seemed like kind of bricky. I just like drew into way too many that I didn't need. I didn't have like, you know, the setup for it, and it was just kind of sitting in my hand. You do love this when it's in the security, and then they're like swinging with Plesio or like swinging with Gurumon into this, and you're like super happy. But I felt like because I wanted this deck to be super consistent, like having the 3 is just kind of the sweet spot. I don't think having a 4th is the end of the world. I also just don't have a 4th in person, so I played 3 and I was pretty happy with it. I think there was only like one game where I was digging for Omnimon for win and I couldn't find it. But I think overall, just having the overall consistency and drawing a bunch, because this deck draws a ton, like you'll probably see your Omnimon, and I think 3 is this, you know, a good number. Like, you know, we have 3 of this and 3 of this, and you know, you still see these like almost every game. But yeah, Omnimon, I don't think there's, I think everybody knows it by now. This card is insane. You know, Digivolve, destroy all of your opponent's Digimon with the same name, and then you can also bounce it and swing again. 15k, just insane. This whole deck is built around this card. A lot of times you want to bait your opponent into kind of playing it first, and then have multiple threats to build on top of it. That's kind of how you win the mirrors. If you're kind of the first one to play it, and you don't think your opponent who's also playing the mirror will have, you know, turbo, like, you know, like Gorillamon, Montemon, Plesio into this, and then kill down yours, like, you're being incredibly naive. Like, you know, that's how I kind of played at first. I'm like, oh, bam, I'm gonna put Omnimon, I'm gonna win, but it won't go that way. You kind of, it's like a lot of push and pull, like mind games. You want to kind of like create multiple threats so that they're kind of, you know, they're like, what do I even Omnimon? If I Omnimon this, but then this is gonna, you know, come back and kill me, and then yeah, it's kind of like a race in who can set up like the better board, or like the more like resilient board, and kind of win out the race. But yeah, Omnimon, super amazing card. Hammer Spark, or Vulcan's Hammer here. This card is absolutely crazy, especially in the mirror. Like, a lot of times you're, you know, put at 1 or like 2, and you need a lot of these cards. Like, if you want to like go into Meta Guru and you want to swing like on that turn, which is like the best, like you probably need a Hammer Spark to enable that play. I think just gaining 1 memory is really good. At first I didn't, like, you know, when I first started playing this game, I didn't think this card was really that good, but yeah, the 1 memory just comes up so often, and you're never upset about drawing this, and you're never upset about seeing this as security, because it could push over to someone else's turn. One thing I kind of learned throughout the tournament, because I played so many Blue Omnimons, and my friends don't play Blue Omnimon that often, so like I don't really know the matchup like super well, but I'm thinking like, oh, how do I get screwed in this situation? And I'm like, at 1 memory, if I swing and it's a Hammer Spark, then I'm screwed. So a lot of times if you're at 1 and like you're about to swing, it's probably just worth it to, you know, play a Hammer Spark and put yourself at 2, and then you swing and you go back to 0, and you can still continue your play and you don't lose a bunch of tempo. This card like came in clutch so many times, you know, whether I push someone to, you know, to my turn, or like I lost my turn to, you know, because I couldn't like get out of that range of Hammer Spark. I played so many mirrors, like, you know, so many games where that just came up so many times, and came down to like, you know, who had more Hammer Sparks in hand and in security, and who can get off more, who had more in security, who was going to push whoever, you know, to the next turn, who was careless about their memory. So yeah, super good. Would only play 4 and will never cut it. I mean, this card is even being played in like non-blue decks, so yeah, super good. Another card people play in the options area is the Ice Wolf Claw, I think it's called. At least that was the official translation. But yeah, the 7-cost bounce, I don't think it's as good as like removal. You know, Terraforce is just like, you know, for 8, it's just so much better because it destroys. But a lot of times the 7-cost, it can't come up, it can, you know, buy time, but I think that's what it is. It's, you know, it's buying time. A lot of the times if you're giving them 7 memory, and you play that, you know, that turn you're done for, right? And you didn't put a body down, and you trap some of their sources, but they still have 7 memory, and they could probably digivolve, draw, right, and then probably still have that same threat you were afraid of. And you kind of lost a turn because you had to play it, and you're kind of like, you know, what do I do now? Because you didn't have a good answer for it last time. You probably won't have it now. And you know, if you just draw too many, your hand's bricky. 7's way too much. You know, like it's. At first, I thought it was like a good option for like blue to have that kind of removal, or quote unquote removal. But yeah, it's not Terra Force. Terra Force is just a lot better. For that 1 memory to just destroy everything, it's just game changing. Bouncing to your hand is just not as good, and options in this game aren't like super amazing. Like they have to be like super impactful like Terra Force. But I don't think blue should play their 7 cost removal. I think the best option for them is to play those Hammer Sparks. I mean, your deck is just trying to you know go wide on the board, get your Omnimons out at the right times, get value off that, and like create multiple threats and all that, and just keep every single turn just swarming. And I think, you know, the 7 cost balance is just not playing in that same, you know, kind of theme. It's slowing down the game a little bit. But yeah, you don't usually want to slow down the game. You want to keep going and spreading out the tempo. So yeah, I think Hammer Spark is the superior option there in this whole theme. Yeah, so that's it for the deck profile. It's my first time doing one of these things, and had a lot of fun with the tournament and did pretty well, so I want to document it and kind of share with everybody. Thank you to the organizers, the tournament organizers, for, you know, kind of keeping things smooth. And thank you to everybody who I played. Thank you everybody for signing up. It was super fun, and I hope there are more of these in the future. Shout out to all my friends who helped me play test: Justin, Sam, Ron, you know, Mark, Gabe, everybody who's kind of been like helping me. And like, you know, we've all been learning the game together and like playing with each other. So yeah, shout out to you guys. Some of them played in tournament 1, did pretty well as well. So yeah, hope we all enter tournaments in the future and, you know, continue to do well. Yeah, I really love this game. Hope it kind of takes off. In the future, hopefully, maybe we'll do some unboxing videos, some more deck profiles, some more deck ideas, maybe some gameplay with me and my friends, some of the matches we're trying out. So yeah, stay tuned. Thanks for watching. See you, everybody.